Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. I feel like it's been a minute since I've done a solo episode, so I'm excited. We're going to be talking about podcasting today and specifically 10 crucial lessons that every podcasting host needs. So, oh my goodness. I feel like this is long overdue. I'm going to do a few episodes on podcasting in a row just because it's needed. I've done, man, we've had this podcast for about 6 years and have done over 450 episodes. It's crazy pants. We're in, I don't know, over 100 countries. It's really fun. Had some really cool people on the show. And I sat down with some of my students from the Impact Partnership, and we actually laid out a podcasting plan for them. And it was so fun to see them like launch their shows. Some of our students have gone on to have top ranked podcasts. It's really, really fun. I love podcasting. It's a great way to connect with your audience, and it creates this like intimate connection. Um, for me, it's just fun. Like it opens the door to so many amazing people. I mean, the people that we've had on the show, it never would have happened if I didn't have a podcast. So, like, example, Leif Hetland, who you're gonna get to meet at some point, he was teaching at my school. He has brought 1.5 million Muslims to know Jesus in Pakistan, all over the Middle East. Like his story's insane. So he was teaching at my school. I'm repping my school today with my Global Awakening sweatshirt. And I got to sit next to him at our luncheon and I'm like, hey, could I have you on my podcast? And he was like, sure. And so we like switch contact information. It's just like one of those really cool things that opens the door for you to create connection, relationship with just awesome people. I'm like, my mind continues to be blown at some of the people that like they say yes, and I'm like, we get to have a conversation. So it's really fun to bring some of the people that I've like looked up to you, and I kind of like do a little dance because it's so fun. Okay, anyways, podcasting is amazing. That's you listen to the show, so you don't need me to like sell you on podcasting. So I want to get into 10 crucial lessons that you need to learn as a podcasting host. So lesson number one, you need to define your purpose. And so before every show, every episode that you're going to create, you need to know what's the purpose behind this episode. Instead of, there are some people that can get on and just like ramble about their lives. And I'm thinking specifically like Chalene Johnson, and people will listen to that. But the majority of people, she already has a platform. She already has an audience. So for her, like it's okay for her to jump on and just ramble about anything and people will find it fascinating just because she's a great storyteller and she's funny and relatable. And so it works for her. But the majority of us, we need to have a very specific purpose with every single episode that we're going to create. And so that's like kind of the template. We're going to go with this. This is like the thing that we're talking about today. It'll make your life a lot easier when you have like bullet points that you need to cover. Okay. Lesson number two is know your audience. Who are you serving? Really important that you understand every piece of content that you're creating, it's for that person. So you need to understand who is your audience and you're creating content for that person. Lesson number three is to plan your content. So Ariana on our team, she's our OBM. She created this awesome spreadsheet with like every episode that we have and the date that I recorded it or I'm going to record it and the date it's going to be published. She has all kinds of details in there. It's amazing. And so she sent me a message today on Voxer and she's like, hey, Rachel, I noticed you're going to be on vacation. My husband and I go into Aruba next week. And we need some episodes because I know you want to take that week off. So I have things like that I can get you and I'll like, basically we need things in the queue. So she's like, are you going to be creating content this week before you go on vacation? And so we have to have a plan and know like when things are dropping. And that way I'm not bringing my microphone to Aruba and I'm just going to be chilling on the beach with my husband and having a really good time. So you need to plan your content and not fly by the seat of your pants and actually know when you're recording content and then when are you publishing that content? When is it going to be uploaded? To go with that, you want to be consistent. And so we have a very specific publishing schedule. Every single Monday is when we're dropping a new episode. every Monday, no matter what is going on in the world. No matter if I have a baby, if there's COVID, if I'm on vacation, if I'm moving overseas, which we have moved overseas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the past. Let's see. I don't know. It was like 6 times in 6 years. It was something ridiculous. I still had a show that was being uploaded every single Monday because you got to be consistent. And to add on to that, we're actually going to be releasing Friday episodes. I'm so excited. Let me tell you about that really, really quick. And so if you don't know Tara DeMerchant, she has been working with me on like within our team for about 2 years now. And it was funny, we were hiring for a setting position on our team, and I already hired somebody when she reached out to me, and she like kept following up, and she was like, Rachel, I have to work with you. And eventually I was like, okay. So she started working with me. She has been one of the most incredible humans I've had the privilege of knowing and getting to run alongside with. She's the kind of person who she'll text me to check up on me. How are you doing? And if I'm struggling with anything, she'll be like, let me call you and pray with you. Just like I want to like cry just thinking about her. She leads worship at our church. She has a heart of gold. And so I want you to know, as I'm bringing her in to actually be like, she's going to be creating content, specifically like devotional style content every Friday. I want you to know that I would never bring just anybody in front of you. She's somebody that she's like, hey, Rachel, I know we have all these people on your email list. Is it okay if I start praying over them? I'm like, yes, you can be praying for the people that we have in our community. Yeah, I'm so excited to be able to bring this to you. So every Friday, get ready. You're going to be able to grow deeper in your relationship with the Lord, and she's going to be bringing you awesome content to help you do that, launching in March. So by the time you hear this, we probably should have an episode out. So I'm excited for that. Okay. We talked about being consistent. Number 4, and no, 5. I'm going out of order. See, it's like you plan it, but then you kind of go off script and then that happens. It's fine. We're somewhere in the 10. You invest in quality equipment. This is really funny. So we had Abdu Murray on the show. He's awesome. You should definitely listen to that podcast. It happened in February. And go check out some of his videos on YouTube. But it was funny because as he jumped on, he was having a hard time with his microphone. And at the same time, I was having a hard time with my microphone. And both of us are like, because they're like overly fancy. So you want to get quality audio, but ideally you can handle the quality audio, because if it doesn't work, I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's a little too fancy for me. But usually most of the time it works. Hopefully it works for this recording, because I have recorded entire episodes before, and Ariana comes back to me and she's like, Rachel, I couldn't hear anything you were saying. And I'm like, no. But you want like so either a really good microphone, which by the way, what I'm using, it's 2 separate pieces. I'm not going to touch the box. Well, actually, I have a backup. I was like, if I touch this one, it's going to mess up everything and I won't know how to fix it. Scarlett Focusrite is the box, and this is 5 to 6 years old. So it does have good longevity. Got it on Amazon. It's a little pricey, but again, it's lasted a good amount of time and it gives good audio. So uh, I feel like it's worth it. And then this is a Audio Technica BPHS1. So those are the 2 things. I'm sure you could get things that are like more current, but that's what we'll use. The other option is to get a cheaper microphone and then record in a closet. You're going to get really good quality audio. So that works too. Why didn't my Zoom give me a thumbs down? Do you know, like when you do things on Zoom, it'll give you like weird emojis. It just gave me a thumbs down. How rude. Okay, so record in a closet for quality audio. I love this headset though, because I could be doing a coaching call, doing a podcast interview. My dogs are barking like crazy and you can't hear it most of the time. If you do, let me know. But I was actually doing a coaching call with one of my clients, and they were, what do you call it? It was like now Zoom's giving me a thumbs up. I'm getting distracted. I'm sorry. So I'm in the middle of doing my coaching call, and we're getting you're going to tell this is not my zone. Our ducts, like the air ducts, vacuumed out or cleaned out. I don't know. That's one of those things I outsource and don't know anything about it. But it was so loud and it was literally happening right next to my office. And I had this thing on and she was like, I can't hear anything. I hear you perfectly. And I'm like, this is such a good headset. If you can't hear that, because this is like ridiculously loud. Okay, so you want to invest in quality equipment. Next lesson is to hone your interviewing skills. And I'm actually going to do an entire episode on honing your interviewing skills because this is something that we can go a lot deeper in. So just get ready for that one. Because it's an important thing to know, and it's a crucial lesson you need to know, but it's going to require a whole episode on its own because it's kind of a big thing. Okay, next, the lesson is to engage with your audience. And so we send out every episode that we do to our email list. Sometimes we text them out. We don't do that as often because our list is so big. Each text message is so expensive. It really is. So I'm like, all right, let's only text out the like really, really, really important stuff. So get feedback. So, engage with your audience, embrace feedback. That's 2 lessons in one. Engage with your audience and embrace feedback. So you could have a Facebook group. You could invite people to connect with you on Instagram. You could email your list. So like if I send out a podcast episode and I'm getting a lot of email feedback or people are reaching out to me on Instagram, which by the way, I would love for you to do that. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram at She's Making an Impact. And that way I know what kind of content you like. And so I do this like pretty often. Hey, did you like this episode? Tell me, give me your feedback. I want to make sure I'm creating stuff that's actually helpful and adding value to your life. So engage with your audience and embrace feedback. Next thing is to repurpose content. I love repurposing content because it makes everything better. So I do this. I'm here. Right. And then my team will take this and they'll use something, cut story. There's some kind of tool that they use. Ariana, could you put it in the show notes, please? To create small clips that then we can put on Instagram stories or, Pinterest, or to like anywhere you want, you can put it there. The other thing is we create show notes and you could bring in, like you could do a transcript, you can bring in a tool like Fathom that does AI show notes. And that way you can take that can be the show notes that you put on your blog that then you put on Pinterest. And then you could take the episode, repurpose it for your email list. Like there's so many things that you could do. So basically like our pillar content is the podcast. And then my team takes the podcast and creates content based off of the things that I'm saying on the show. I like it because it requires 15 minutes a week of my time sometimes longer. If we're doing the interview, more like 45 minutes, but it's so much fun for me to do. It's really easy for me to do. And then my team can worry about creating the rest of the content for all the other platforms. And it was stuff that came out of my mouth. So it's great. Okay. And the last tip is to stay authentic. Stay authentic. Nope. How many times did I like mess up or I don't know, do all kinds of weird shenanigans during this? Many, many, and it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You shouldn't be a robot. You don't need to edit out every little clip. People that go through and they're like editing all these little things. I'm like, no, don't do that. Make mistakes. Be a human. People connect with other humans. And so if you're weird, be weird. If you're loud, be loud. If you're shy, like be shy, but like with a little like sass, like show up. Just do the thing. Do the thing and just be authentic. And if you have dogs barking, let the dogs bark. Maybe bring them in the show. If my kid comes in, I'm like, hey, usually doesn't happen that much anymore. However, I'm starting homeschooling next year, so that'll be a whole other beast. TJ might be on this show a whole lot more, and you'll get to see him. He's 10, so that'll be fun. Okay, let's recap 10 crucial lessons every podcast host needs. You need to define your purpose, know your audience, plan your content, have quality equipment, be consistent, hone your interviewing skills, engage with your audience, embrace feedback, repurpose content, and stay authentic. I hope that was helpful. I actually have a free download for you. So if you go to rachelngom.com/who God says I am, I created a download of all of the scripture of who God says you are. What this does, it helps you really start to renew your mind on the identity of who God says you are as a child of God. Instead of, man, this is something I've been going deep in, especially after we had William Wood on the show and I read his book, Every Day of Victory. It is so important that we're renewing our mind all the time and we are taking every thought captive. So go listen to it every day. And again, the link is rachelngom.com/who God says I am. And that'll help you do just that. All right. I hope this was helpful. Again, give me some feedback on Instagram at She's Making an Impact, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.